Welcome everybody. It is my pleasure to introduce you today to Rick Tumlinson. To me, he's extremely special person because he allowed me to look at the space as something that is actually right there and available. And it is his talks that I watched on the YouTube and published on the internet that really helped me realize that we're so much closer, and eventually universe connected us together. And I'm pleased to announce that I'm an advisor for Rick's SpaceFund, and I can tell you guys, I just been living in the dreams and stars and so inspired by all the opportunities, as well as motivated by hard work that needs to be put into our dreams coming true. So without further introduction, I would like you to meet Rick. And Rick, I'm sure we will get into all kinds of exciting discussions. But first, let's start with the SpaceFund. Let's start with what is your work today, and I'm sure we'll go back to your experiences of the past.
So SpaceFund is a venture capital investment company, and we are based in the United States, Texas company, and we will be or are rolling out a couple of different funds in the near future. The entire focus of the company is to invest in companies that we consider to be frontier enabling. So if you've heard about Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk, or going back to the moon or the Mars projects, things like that, the kinds of companies and startups that are going to go into that ecosystem and become the infrastructure and industrial development kind of companies of the future. And so it's very important for people to understand that what we're talking about here is a movement of people beyond the planet, led by some of the richest, most interesting people around, and they're doing it because they believe it's really important, and they're putting billions of dollars into it. Yeah. So what's going to come up as that happens is all of these little startup companies that are out there, and so our goal is to help them get started, and at the same time, eventually, one of the mission goals of SpaceFund is to get to a point where at some point we can let regular people, like you and I perhaps, actually invest in the same kinds of things that Elon Musk,
that only elite of the world has access to.
Right. Yeah. We don't believe space should be developed and owned by the 0.1%.
Yeah. And it is your drive to make that available. That's what's been driving you for over 30 years.
A couple of days, yes. Been around for a while.
Yeah.
I got started a long time ago, but I'm just very lucky. I've been in the right place at the right time, with the right people, and had a lot of great opportunities to participate in helping frame what it is that's happening right now.
And trailblaze with your dedication and work.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you, but I mean, it's just, look, when I was young, like some of the people I just mentioned, I grew up watching Star Trek, Star Wars, and at the same time you're watching what's happening with the different space programs, the Soviet program, European space program. You're seeing people walking on the moon, all of these things happening, and when you're a young person, when you're a kid, and you're watching the reality and the science fiction, and then you see some of the terrible things going on in the world that you don't like, you think, maybe I can make this great stuff happen. And so it kind of hooked me early on when I was a very young child.
And you held on to it.
I was, yes, and it just became an obsession in my life, and so basically I've kind of stayed with that.
Yeah. And
over time, gradually, we've been able to sort of make some of the changes.
Huge changes. I think that, when we think about a shift that happened in a space, I believe that it is with your help it became a business endeavor instead of a political tool, or at least it's becoming that way more and more, and that is beautiful in my opinion. When I think about investment opportunities for regular people of the world, I think about the regulatory structure of actually Europe, and I think that there are so many countries that are coming in now and saying, we actually want to democratize this, and we want to allow people to be able to participate in the deals that usually they couldn't touch, and we'll give them that regulatory framework. So I know that you will be traveling to Europe in the upcoming days, and I hope that you will deliver some exciting news from there.
Well, we are working with a couple of partners on the idea of creating a fund in this non-US fund. So I'll back up just for a second. The first fund we have is called SpaceFund 1. It's a very fancy name, SpaceFund 1.
First mission.
Yes, and SpaceFund 1 operates within the US, and we follow the Security Exchange Commission rules here in the United States. And you're required to be an accredited investor of a net worth of $1 million, and there's some other criteria involved. And so that's very basic, similar to many, many other kinds of venture capital funds in the United States. What we've done there, though, is we've put a security token on top of that, and we're working with a company called Abacus, and we have partners at Yeoman's Capital, David Johnston, all these other folks working with us to enable people to use security tokens to invest, but you still have to be accredited. So the second phase that we're looking at, and hopefully we'll have some announcements. We have to go through all the regulatory hoops. Yeah, right. Well, it's coming, I hope. Would be SpaceFund 2. Now we may come up with a cool name for that because this is more for the public. And we're thinking that there are great regulatory experiments and new ways of approaching things in Europe going on. And if that is possible, then that's the one that will open things up to the world. I've always thought, and this may get me in a little bit of trouble, but you're in the crypto world, and I'm sure that people have said this, that it is very ironic that you have to be accredited to be allowed to invest in what may become the biggest companies in the world, to take your hard-earned money and put it in there. You have to be a rich person to invest in something to make you rich. But you can go to Monte Carlo or Las Vegas and gamble everything away for free with they should certify you before you come into a casino.
I think so too. Yeah.
Can you bet your house? But you're not allowed to.
People lose they lose life earnings when they go to.
Yeah, it's almost like the royalty and the peasantry, and that kind of. Now we follow all the rules. I may believe that, and that's where I want to go in the long run. But we are very, very clear that we're working with the current framework. We're not anarchists.
Yes.
We're very cautious and making sure we've actually talked to the SEC here in the U.S. and we're going to follow all of the regulatory rules. But at the end of the day, wouldn't it be great if a regular person sitting at home who believes in the future, has their little kids sitting on the carpet playing on their Nintendo,
and discuss,
could invest?
Yeah, and discuss and say, okay, family, this is an interesting project, and if you have a child and your child wants to do something wonderful in space, what a great way to be able to empower them by saying, look, this looks like something you would like to do. How about we put a couple $100 into it? And then maybe even child would want to participate in that through their parents, and then watch the company grow. Watch, and what a better way to learn. I know that the companies that because you become as a person that's almost building the company, right? You become a portion of it. Such a great way to encourage innovation, I think, is by allowing people to invest. Interestingly, I learned that in Europe, they have the little check box which says, I understand that I am not registered investor and it could be a risky investment. but I'm okay with that. I take my responsibility, and I do think that it's a great way of approaching it. I should be able to say consciously, yeah, I understand. It is, and sure, there could be limitations in the investment size, but still allow me to come in and participate.
Right. And see, part of what's important about a company like SpaceFund is we are doing the filtering. We are making sure, as best we can, I don't want to make any false claims, but as best we can, we're going to try and bet on or invest in the right companies. Because our managing partner, Megan Crawford, who you've met and is amazing, helped found the longest running space business plan competition
Yes,
in the
she
world.
told me
So
over 500 business plans.
Oh, she's way more than that. She's being very modest. So she's right in the middle of where all the startup companies are. In fact, she coaches them and runs contests with them. So she knows that world. I know the long players who've been in a long time. I know the government people. Megan knows them as well. And I also am still involved in some of the policy discussions about where we're going to go in the future. So we put that together along with our advisors who are very plugged into the field. We have people that are working in space medicine, engineers, different types. And then we can look at a startup company that comes in, and keep in mind, it's space. So we get some spacey ideas. We get a little bit of crazy people showing up. Of course, it's space, it's frontier. Not like that's never happened in crypto.
Oh goodness.
No, nobody ever shows up in crazy crypto land. But for space, they come through the door, and between Megan and I and our advisors, we can look and have our intuitive sense and understanding. And it's like Malcolm Gladwell wrote the Tipping Point book, right? He wrote a book called Blink, which is the idea that after you've accumulated a lot of experience, you could look at something fairly quickly and go,
identify,
whereas, forgive my language, but BS, no BS. Right?
Yes or no, and then if it's a if it's a yes, then why?
And if it's a yes, then we
is
double
there
check
another
ourselves.
no? Is there another no? I'm not
If
seeing.
we say yes, then we have our advisors, we have people we can call. We can also, we know that people who are, like if you're going to take some service that you want to use in the space station. Okay, so we know everybody who's building the space stations, and we know the people who are running the current space station. So we can call them up and say, okay, is this something that plugs into some need? Is there a customer base? Is there a market for what these people
It's like
are saying?
obsessive for my blockchain cube company. It's a small firm, and when I need some expertise, I call to my network and I say, hey, what do you think? And if it's a no, I don't touch it.
Yeah, the threshold for no's is very, very low. The threshold for yes is very, very high.
Yes.
And but there, one of the important things for us is that this is happening so fast, and we believe that there are going to be so many breakthroughs and breakouts that occur in the next 3 years, let's say. Let me explain a little bit of an idea that I talk about on stage whenever I speak. We all have our mobile phones, and you've heard the analogy, this is an application development platform for creative people, to access the universe of ideas and communication. Okay. So when I do my talk, I show a picture of the space station, and I say, okay, that's the application development platform for the human race to access the actual universe. All right? That's the gateway. There's this one space station that's floating around up there. Well, there is one in China. The Chinese have one, but I can only speak about this one because I know about it. Now, on that space station, the way it operates right now, it takes 2.75 people just to keep the lights on in the space station. And normally the space station only has between 3 and 6 people. So that means for maybe half the year, there's 1/4 of one person who has the free time to do all the experimentation, all the business development, all the IP for the whole human race. That's touching the universe.
Unbelievable.
So, yes, it is. And if you look then at what's happening with, let's say, Elon says he's going to be building spaceships that can carry, he says 100 or plus people to Mars within the next 5 years. Okay, forget that though, because space people, they like to brag. So we'll be a little more conservative. Let's say he's able to carry 50 people 3 or 4 times a year just to Earth orbit. Okay? That's times X number of people who have access to the universe, the environment that occurs beyond the Earth, to come up with new ideas, new products, new experiments, new things like that. And so the company, our company is looking at how do we enable that, those people who are going to have that access. You know, let's say the day after tomorrow, we will have access to space.
I'm going.
You're going.
I'm
Absolutely.
going.
There's going to be a hotel. There's going to be labs.
Yes.
There's going to be maybe a crypto banking facility, right? So everybody gets to go because they're going to be pushing the price down, 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 because we have competition between Jeff and Elon and some of the other people.
And other players that are coming
Other players coming in all over the place.
Yeah.
So that'll happen. Then we're going to see the commercial space facilities, hotels, laboratories, industrial parks. At the same time now, you've got all these people coming up with great ideas that can make money on the space platform. But then you need the service providers for them, right? Who's going to supply the air, the water, everything they need to live, the entertainment, all of these other things. So we have 2 elements to what it is we're looking at to invest in and to support with SpaceFund. The people who are going to come up with the new products and ideas, and the people who are going to supply them the infrastructure where they can live and work in space.
That's where really blockchain technology and really distributed ledger technology comes in really useful, because it's supply chain, it seems, would be a perfect application for. Are you are you in talks with any companies right now that you like that actually will be applying blockchain technology?
There are a couple that are looking at it right now. And I should say that with SpaceFund, part of our plan is any company that we bring in and joins our portfolio, we'll start indoctrinating them. We'll start teaching them, let's put it that way, about how blockchain can apply.
Because innovation on that is coming up, and application of that technology is ramping up to actual reality.
Absolutely, and it's funny that given that space people are so much on the edge themselves, they don't know much about crypto yet.
Yes.
They're still, what's that all about? And I tell people I'm going to my space friends that I'm going to be working on this, and so it's all about Bitcoin.
Yes,
No.
that's the same question.
No, it's not about Bitcoin.
But they will learn, because it's going to touch their industry.
There's so many things we can do with it. I mean, just the tagging of things, the ability to exchange, to trade services and goods, the same, all the applications. Look, space is not different from the Earth. It's just a different place. So all of the activities that everybody in the crypto community has talked about enabling and facilitating using blockchain, we can do in space. All right, so interpersonal activities, banking, trading, buying, selling, medical records, all of these types of things. It gets down to some of the more exotic stuff, like if somebody's mining an asteroid. We can tag.
I'm thinking a lot about that.
Oh, tell me about that. I'm curious.
I've been thinking how interesting it just changes kind of availability of minerals even, right? And what are the new future valuations of the metals and the different things in the Earth become when all of a sudden we discover and bring something that's the most valuable, or whatever is most valuable now becomes kind of like a dust, and so and of course how is it important to, in order to be able to have the precision of the operation and the processes to make sure that it properly works. So almost reorganization of the way we do things and the way we view businesses and operations.
Yeah, well, I mean, 2 parts to what you're saying there, and the value, that's the idea of what if you flooded the world with diamonds, then the cost of diamonds would plummet. A little historical thing there that if you were around few hundred years ago, and you showed up at the court of Louis XIV, one of the richest kings in Europe. If Louis was trying to impress you, he wouldn't bring out his gold or silver plates. He would bring out his aluminum plates, because aluminum was so hard to extract and process. It was considered incredibly valuable. But then they learned how to do it, they learned how to process it, and it's everywhere. In fact, the top of the Washington Monument is a little piece of aluminum because it was so precious. All right, and along with its weather-resistant aspects. So, yes, we have to be careful. We don't want to crash the market. We don't want to scare anybody of the secret societies of the establishment who might try and stop us, because
It's a
we're going to
natural
plummet the price
evolution.
of gold and platinum.
We want to.
By the way, that was a
be
joke.
able
I want to be clear.
Yes. Yeah.
Of course, there are no secret societies. Anyway, the
You
idea.
know, I think that whatever secret can remain secret, whatever is available there for our imagination and our dedicated work. We were talking about kind of the work and the opportunities that are here for now available for startups, for bigger companies. There are all kinds of different interesting integrations that come to mind. And when it comes to space, and I think most importantly, money. There's so much money in space, and when I think about that, I think, okay, what is that is needed for the industry to kind of make sure that we have the most important resources, which is people coming into the industry and saying, okay, I want to do this work, I want to be a teacher on a settlement mission, or I want to be able to be service provider and cater the best greens that provide most nutrients to your body, or singer, or whatever it is. I think about people, and that's I think that the most biggest resource. And right away, a thought of the conference that we've been organizing comes together. And guys, I must say, if you're going to be coming to Austin and once a year, make it come for the conference. And it's really a space settlement conference, and it is open to everybody. If you care about the space, if you have inner child in you, get your tickets, because they go fast. It's quite limited capacity. And I also think about the Space Ball, of course, which is the gathering of people that make things happen. And I think that those are very important, because you make it available for people to just regular person come in and say, what does it look like? I want to come and talk to Rick, and I want to ask him questions, and you're there, you're available, you're answering to them. And yeah, I'm really empowered by that, and especially by the fact that you want to make sure that 50% of attendees are women for the conference. And Megan told me some very interesting fact. When we think about equality, we think as rights. She put a different perspective of the importance of why we need to have women in space. And it is the fact that for settlement, you need the gender balance. You need at least 50% of women to be able to go. And so she said, if it's going to happen, we need women to start working on it. And so I really appreciated that, and it put a different shift mentally for me. And so I'm really excited to announce that I will post a link that will have a form for you to be able to fill out and apply to receive a complimentary admission to the conference. And we have some extra special secrets planned that we will announce a little bit later that will keep you excited.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. This is our 5th year. And the whole thing is as you said, space element. And we have a group of kids that'll be in the next room working on their own concepts. What we do is we try to really focus in on living in space. What's it going to be like? What do we need to know? And some of it's roll up your sleeves. It gets a little technical here and there. But the fun part is that we have a half day called Sharks in Space, which is business plans for space. And this comes from Megan and her nonprofit organization. And the actual participants at the event vote on the best business plan. Okay, so it's very participatory. We also have some more academic type papers on different technologies, more scientific type things. Just a couple of sessions. Again, the participants vote. So you're not just sitting there falling asleep,
you
watching.
actually get to...
You're participating,
yes.
right? And they get cash prizes. And we're looking for donors for cash prizes who want to put their name maybe on a prize, to sponsor prizes. And then and the sessions range from habitats and businesses and things like that to one of our more fun sessions, Sex in Space, which is fun. Now that sounds really wild.
What does that mean?
Well, I'll put it this way. Make sure that everybody stays till the end of the day because we put it at the end of the day.
Yes. Okay.
But it's not just about sex in space. It's about what happens when you have multiple generations. What happens to birth and the process?
Yeah.
It gets into very, very serious issues. What happens to our genes and genetics? So there have been some really interesting questions. Nobody knows yet.
Yeah.
We don't know if we can
I've been
breathe
thinking
in
a
space.
lot about that.
Yes, I mean, and it's one of those questions though. What will happen to the human species? Will we have new species? I talk about some of the things I do. That we'll have a species that develops that's particularly used to growing up on the moon. Another one that grows up on Mars. One that grows in space, I call them Homo lunaris, Homo marsialis, Homo spacialis. 3, 4, 5 generations in, what do they look like? Who are they? Maybe they can't come back to the Earth anymore. Maybe they're a new branch. These are very interesting questions. But we also get into the sociology of it. How do we get along in space? And then the technology, because we're geeks and we like engineering.
And we need the technology to be able to do that.
Right. And then it's all followed by the Space Cowboy Ball.
Yeah.
The Space Cowboy Ball is on the 16th. It's becoming a thing.
16th of November.
Of November.
Yes.
And the Space Cowboy Ball is a fundraiser for sort of educational scientific projects. And the question that is asked in the Space Cowboy Ball is, what would you wear to a party on Mars in 100 years? And so we get some great costumes, some great outfits. I think I can see you're thinking about it already. So we have a lot of fun with that. And then we give out a couple of awards. So we give out the Odyssey Award, which is for the film or television program that tries to get it right when they're portraying the future. So one of our first winner of the Odyssey was the science fiction channel, now on the Amazon channel, called The Expanse, the program. And one of the stars of The Expanse, a guy named Kaz Anvar, he's the pilot of the pirate ship on The Expanse. He's become part of our group. He comes down now. He'll be emceeing some of the different stuff. We had him last year interview Jeff Bezos. And that's the second award we give out. It's called the Space Cowboy Award. We've given that out 3 times. We gave one out to former General Pete Worden, runs the Breakthrough Foundation that is working on the solar sail to go to another solar system. Then the second year we gave it out to Etienne Schneider, who was the Deputy Prime Minister of Luxembourg, because they started a $200 million investment fund. And then last year it went to Jeff Bezos.
Have you guys considered also making a Cowgirl Award as well? Because I know there's such a wonderful women and powerful women in the space industry.
We've had a lot of conversations about using the word cowboy or cowgirl. And in fact, there is a lady in our field who is very prominent. I won't mention her name yet, but we've actually been trying to give it to her for 3 years. But she's always very busy. She's a friend of mine, but she's always very busy trying to make their rockets of her company fly on time, and they have issues that always seem to happen right in November.
She's like your Megan.
What we need is more people like this lady and Megan
Yes.
and yourself
Thank
in
you.
our field who are not just capable and not just amazing at what you're able to do, but have navigated through all the landmines and all the stupid stuff that is put out by several thousand years of our culture
Yes.
that can break through that. Now, one of the great things about space is that it's new. So the rules haven't been set. Now, yes, with too many geeky guys in space and all of that, and not enough women.
And I want to say that I really appreciate that everybody, the guy, in my experience, that yourself and other gentlemen and women that come from space say, we definitely need more women. Women are amazing for all these reasons. We just need more women. Please, more women, instead of women coming in and saying, get more women. And so I really appreciate it. I think that because of its newness, there's an obvious picture that women are a very important part of the future of the space industry.
Right, and one of the reasons that at the conference at New Worlds that we decided to scholarship or give away the tickets to women is we just got tired of talking about it. I mean, talk is cheap.
Let's do something.
Something. The value of the tickets, it's not, our tickets aren't very expensive. They're I think $175 for 2 days. But it was like, you know what, let's just throw the airlock open.
One step at a time gets us to where we want.
You can only do those things that you can do, right? And so I can't wave some magic wand and suddenly have 50% women in space. But what I can do is say, come on in, your seat is open. And see, here's the important part of that. And I'm sure, and I know it's the same in the crypto world, is people, whether they're men or women, hire people they know, more likely than people they don't know.
Yeah.
So even if it isn't intentional, the people that you know are the people that you either work with or that you network with at events, right? And so it's conferences, space, just like crypto. We have a space conference every 15 minutes.
Yes.
Right?
I've been looking at some and kind of have a plan to go. I'd like to be able to go and speak for blockchain kind of aspect of things on a space conference.
Right. Well, you won't have a hard time. They're everywhere. And the thing is that because building those relationships occurs at conferences, sitting on couches like this in the lobbies, seeing people on stage, hanging out, the parties, the luncheons, all of this. Familiarity occurs, and those are the people who are more likely to get hired. So if we can have 50% of the people at our conference be women, then that's more opportunities for men and women to know each other.
And then they can get hired. I was talking to a friend, she's an engineer, they work on the chip that is actually used for space, satellite something, I'm not sure what it is. And she said, I wish that I could have done something for space, but it's too late for me and maybe my daughter can. And I said, are you kidding me? There's so much money in the space. Please, I'm going to send you the link, please, if you are considering working for the space industry and you want to empower your daughter to actually think in the stars and want to go in space, come to the ball, come to the conference and see what opportunities are there, because I bet there's going to be somebody that's going to want your engineering skill.
And look, it's the same thing for all kinds of other people. We need much more diversity. The opening of this frontier is very unique, and we have some things we've never had before when it comes to moving into new places. We have an ability to look back into history in a way we've never done before, and look at our mistakes and our successes. We have an understanding of science and the effect of what we're doing on ourselves, the planet we're coming from, and what it is we're going to do. And we have an ability to sort of look forward a little bit, that no time in human history has any culture ever had all of those pieces at the same time. All
it's
those
like the
tools.
right time and the right place.
So we have the chance, if we're not stupid, to make good decisions. And sort of pause and, okay, how do we want this to happen? Do we want a bunch of Anglo-Saxon billionaire men and bulldozers to go charging into space and level the whole thing? No. We want to try a new approach. We want all of us to be able to go. We want to carry the life of the Earth. I should mention that one of the other organizations that I've worked on starting is called the Earthlight Foundation. And Earthlight is focused on the idea of expanding life in humanity. Our little slogan is to...
well, it could be the solution, right,
yes.
for constantly, with having limit for the settlement, the way I understand it is that we need that life expansion, so then there's not need to keep going through those genes, and since it's compound space, eventually everyone will become brother and sister and related much faster, right? So if we expand the life expectancy, we really can allow, we don't have to worry about how do we deal with that gene mess,
That's one element of it too. But for us and for the Earthlight Foundation, the goal is to carry the diversity of life that we have on this planet, as well as us. So it's not just about people going out and living in little metal boxes. It's about carrying the seeds of life, and that's kind of one of our core drives.
So is that something similar then to what would be a bank of DNA of humanity in the space as well?
That's a part of it. That's sort of trying to put it all into a box. And that's great, and we need to do that. We need to make sure there's a backup
of
all the seeds and all the different genetic... I'm talking about actual forests,
okay,
actual animals, actual ecosystems being created on the moon, on Mars, or in colonies, or what we call colonies, habitats in space, where we can rotate them and create gravity. The idea of, and this gets way deep into the philosophy of this, but for
Take me all the way.
Well, the philosophy of the whole thing for me is that we are here for a purpose. And that purpose is 3 or 4 things. One is to keep life going, to keep life itself, just basic life, the actual imperative of living things in the universe that isn't alive. And if we're all locked on one planet and something happens, then we're gone. Now, there may be life all the way through the universe. I hope there is. But I can only bet in the cards that I have in my hands. And the cards that I can see say, well, it's only this planet right now. And it's a better assumption to make than to assume it's everywhere so we can kill this one. Who cares? There's more. We can't take that
Well, how
chance.
are we going to go there?
Right, we can't take that chance. I want to assume that this planet is precious, this planet is unique, and the ecosystems in life we have here are unique, and that it is our mission to carry that life, to preserve the life here and protect the planet, and which we can do a lot better from space, and B, carry the seeds of this planet into space.
And
Make
look
that
at
our
Earth
goal.
as a seed that you nourish and
Absolutely.
cherish, and it is a
This is the
gem.
mother world.
Yeah.
This is the mother
Yeah.
world.
Mother
We
world.
need to carry the offspring of the mother world, which isn't just us, out into the universe. Wouldn't it be interesting if we lived in a society that defined success, defined itself in terms of how well we were all doing, or as individuals doing, to carry life into the universe? Wouldn't that be exciting? I mean, just the idea that...
I'm
Yeah.
just imagining it, and it feels so right.
Right, it's not how much we can take, it's how much we can give. And see, the thing is, when you're in space and you're locked into a bubble with each other, then you have to care about each other. You have to be dependent on each other. You have to share. You have to be able to trust. And you have to be able to interact in all kinds of ways with each other in a way that is positive. Because you are stuck. You're with each other in this bubble, and everything outside of that bubble is trying to kill you. Okay? So you may as well get along. So
Keep your bubble alive and
keep your
and
bubble alive.
happy.
I like that.
Yeah.
And so if we're looking at that and all that kind of opportunity, then to me it becomes incredibly exciting. And I think that the other people who are leaders and working on this field in different places, many of them feel the same way. Now they may be focused on a very small part of it or one element of it. So for example, I know that Elon wants to create a backup to the Earth. Like, I want to go take a pod of humans and go to Mars and start that up. Jeff wants to take all the industries off the Earth and put them in space. All the polluting, technology-based, heavy industrial processes, moved it off the Earth and let the Earth begin to regenerate itself. Other people want to go do other elements of it.
Different approaches to, and all of them are toward healing and preserving the Earth.
Healing, preserving, and expanding.
Yeah.
And to me, I want to change the philosophy of being a human being.
So heal, preserve, and expand.
I like that. Absolutely. Write that one down. So anyway.
It's recorded, so I'll
Yes.
be taking notes for sure, and I will.
Yeah, so to heal, preserve, and expand. And I think that that's, how transformative would that be? I mean, given the fact that, we're still operating as apes. We're basically apes with tools we don't understand, the implications of which we can't fathom. The things that we do in the universe that we live in the world we live in right now, we don't even completely understand our own effect. We're trying, and we're better than we have ever been in history at understanding it. That's why we're all getting a little scared right now, right? Because we're
excited. I think,
about
I think that there's two ways of thinking about it. I also see
Yes,
that
of course.
there's actually a raise of awareness, of acknowledgement of kind of, okay, we do need to do those three things, and almost global awareness and expanded consciousness, and that idea of, okay, I do enjoy the nature, and I see that it can go away very fast, and my life needs this. I feel
Absolutely.
good when I touch this and I smell flowers. I feel good when I eat good food, because my body tells me it feels good, instead of eating. We have data now, right? All the people that are eating all the unnatural things, they're experiencing all kinds of problems with their bodies.
Yeah, and see, that's the difference between surviving and thriving.
Yeah.
Okay, and if you shift, when I was talking about being scared, I'm talking about the fact that we're learning that we're screwing up this planet very badly, and that means we need to save it. But the message that we're giving, and so the message we're starting to give to the next generation is, okay, we've screwed everything up, you get to fix it. That's not very exciting. But what if it was that heal, protect, and expand?
Yeah.
You add a layer that says, your job isn't just to save the earth, but to carry it outward.
Yeah, I love
And that is more exciting than, you just get to clean up the mess.
And it's your children. When I think about my child, I want to be able to give her the tools and implement these tools together and kind of grow. So I'm going to use that with her: heal, protect, and expand. Right? Preserve and expand. And then we can do that together. It's so lovely to see children walk, and they will pick up garbage and say, "Oh, and litter," and put that away. And it's such a reward to be able to do that together.
Right. And when you're in space, the ethos of it, the way you have to interact, embodies everything that we need to do down here. Okay? You don't waste in space. You don't throw anything away. You recycle everything.
Everything.
Life is precious. That little seed, that little flower, that even the little cockroach running across the floor is precious. All of that is precious. The social things I just talked about, the idea of how you interact with other people, solving issues, these kinds of things. All of the idealized versions of ourselves that we've ever talked about as to how we should best interact with each other and the universe that we're in have to be manifested in space, or you die.
And everyone else.
And everybody else dies, right? So the flip side of that is, if you do it, then you thrive, you expand, and you move into a new level of being. And I think that that's the opportunity that's right in front of us. So we bring that all the way back down now to, is this planet?
I am floating all over the space.
We have to bring that down.
That's
to,
right.
and that's one of our slogans is Well, it's based on the old statement they used to make where no buck, no buck Rogers. Or I like to say that nobody stays until somebody pays.
Yeah.
Or somebody makes it pay.
Yeah.
And so that's what we have to do. We have to be very pragmatic about it and make it something that creates economic value and is able to enrich people and to create financial opportunities now so that we can reach these higher goals.
Yes.
And that's
And
our
make,
job.
and as innovations go, eventually have opportunity to, be first trillionaires, or what is the next number? What
Sure.
does that mean, that exponential growth of settlement of the universe? Maybe money just completely goes away as a valuation of things.
Yeah, I think
Now that's the
we
crypto.
have to talk. No, we have to speak. We do have to speak into the culture we're in a bit
Yeah.
right now. So I don't know if you want to call it greed or the desire to make good financially.
It's a tokens that allow us to, I think money is a token that allows us to see how are we doing at the things that we are doing, right? So, and that's how I view it. If you go and you do work, you give a work, and then other great rewards is feeling good about your work, making difference in people's lives. There's this token that we can touch that shows us that in fact it is a work as well. It's just one of the data points that that we have.
And that allows you to go live a certain way, in a certain lifestyle.
Yeah, and do better too.
Yeah. Now I think that we may move into cultures. I hope we can move into cultures where that is less of an issue. You can work on your joy.
Yeah.
Okay, your dharma, the unity of your work, your passion, and life can all come together into one thing that is not based on bank values.
Only tokens.
Yeah, only tokens.
Only tokens.
The real token is in your heart.
Exactly.
And your satisfaction. And we'll get there.
Mm-hmm.
But for right now, we have to go one step at a time. And so we have to show, and that's why we do, kind of smile and talk about the fact that the first trillionaires will be made in space.
I agree.
I think it will. I
Yeah.
think that
I'm planning it to be me,
There
just
you
so
go.
we're clear about that.
you go for it.
Yes.
And we'll do everything we can.
Or any of you too, please come and, we'll
Great.
compete.
So that's it.